In the headlines, Nigerian Senate meets service chiefs over national security challenges. Shortage of food, essential services hit IDP camps in Plateau State. Bandits kill 4, including policemen, abduct 40 others in Zamfara. On the foreign scene, ceasefire talks resume as Israel attacks on Rafah continue. Hello again and welcome to the Trust TV News Update at this hour. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in full. Security chiefs and ministers on Tuesday briefed senators behind closed door on the spate of insecurity in the country. The Red Chamber had last week postponed the meeting till Tuesday. Those in the meeting included Chief of Defense Staff Christopher Musa, Chief of Army Staff Tariq Lagbaja, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Chief Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun, and the Director General of the Department of State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi. Others are the National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy Olawale Edun, Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawale, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, Minister of Interior Olubumi Tunji Ojo, Minister of Police Affairs Ibrahim Gaidam, and Minister of State for Police Affairs Iman Suleiman Ibrahim.
The Senate decided to take this option for us to have this interaction because of the various petitions that we have received from our constituents. And as part of our major oversight function, we decided to do this through Committee of the Whole. And so it's because of the need for us to hear directly from you. And then from there, we can also brief the people. If there's any need for any cause for alarm, if there's no cause for alarm, we'll also know. And if there's anything you want the National Assembly, the Senate to do, we'll do so working closely with our partners in the House of Representatives. So we welcome you.
Shortage of food and other essential services has hit camps of internally displaced persons in Mangu and Pangshin local government areas of Plateau State. Some of the IDPs, while lamenting the scarcity of food in their camps, are calling on government and other public-spirited individuals to intervene in order to help them survive. Trust TV's Adomusa completes the report.
The IDPs, who are victims of the crisis that ravaged some communities in Mangu, said they lack food to feed themselves and their children. Trust TV gathered that for the past 1 week, no food has been prepared for the IDPs at the camp, adding that some of them often leave the camp in the morning to seek manual work in order to buy food.
In this camp we need food and security. That is the major problem of the people, food, because we know that there are a lot of helps that have been coming, but the food that have been coming is not enough for the people. The sharing is not of number. Maybe a family, you find that the gift of food is only a measure for a family. Then it will take some weeks before another one come again.
We come and stay here. We don't have food to eat. There are some people that they will come and help, but not enough that will satisfy us. We are managing our life. The clothes we will wear, we don't have. We don't have things that we lose them. If says that we start thinking of all those things, it's a pity.
Matthias Ibrahim, one of the camp director in Mangu, explained the situation at the pilot primary camp.
What we are presently facing from all the IDPs, in all the IDPs places, is the challenge of food. So because all the people that are displaced from both the communities, their properties are burned down completely. They raise down their food, their clothing, whatever food, what items they have are all destroyed. So what we need at the moment is the food. And this food that we need is part of the immediate thing that will resolve the crisis. Because if people are in hunger now, they'll be thinking about anything else. So if food are provided at the moment, because in the camp, there's no food items in the camp. So people are living by the grace of God.
Some of the IDPs who have been at the camp since last year, April, said they are willing to go back to their homes to continue farming activities if their security is guaranteed. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
More on security matters. Bandits have killed 2 policemen and 2 other residents and abducted about 40 persons in an attack on Kasuwa Daji town in Kaura Namoda local government area in Zamfara state. Residents said the bandits invaded the town early Tuesday and started shooting indiscriminately to scare residents. A resident of the town, Abubakar Kaura, said the bandits entered the town with sophisticated weapons, including anti-aircraft guns. He said the bandits attacked the home of the former state chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Hamisu Kasuwa Daji, and abducted one of his wives and grandchildren. According to him, despite the house of the former NURTW chief situated close to a police station in the town, the bandits still attacked the house as well as the station, disarming the policeman on duty and killing 2 of the officers. Another resident of Kasuwa Daji, who pleaded anonymity for security reasons, said the bandits also killed 2 residents of the town during the attack and abducted about 40 persons. Although the spokesperson of the Zamfara State Police Command, Yazid Abubakar, confirmed the attack, he, however, did not indicate the number of persons abducted. The coordinator of National Youth Service Corps in Cross River State, Zemo Andrew, has confirmed that many of the Akwa Ibom State Corps members who were kidnapped en route Sokoto State months ago for their national service are being released alongside their driver. He said only a few are yet to be released by the kidnappers. Andrew also disclosed that they have not been posting members to Bakassi local government area and will also not post them to other volatile places in the state. According to him, the scheme is mindful of the safety of the Nigerian children deployed to the state, especially as 1,734 more have been assigned to commence their national service with effect from this week. Andrew explained that they do not also deploy those with aquaphobia to coastal places, maintaining, however, that they do sensitize them about greater benefits available in the rural communities. He appealed to the state government and collaborating partners to intervene in the upgrade of facilities at the Obobra orientation camp as corps members would be converging for camping. As part of his administration's effort to tackle the problem of insecurity, Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State has signed the State Security Trust Fund into law. The bill repeals the State Security Trust Fund Law number 22 of 2018. This was disclosed in a statement on Tuesday by the governor's chief press secretary, Muhammad Shehu. The objectives of the legislation are to provide money for the acquisition and deployment of security equipment, human and financial resources, as shall be necessary for the effective functioning of all federal, state, and local government security agencies working in Kaduna State. Governor Sani explained that part of the security funds will be reserved for the training and retraining of security personnel. The law also established the State Security Trust Fund Board of Trustees, which will be capable of holding, purchasing, and acquiring any property for the trust fund. And now to labor matters. Nurses and midwives in Nigeria have staged a peaceful protest against the new standards for certificate verification laid down by their regulatory body, the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Aishat Momo takes it from here.
The nurses and midwives on Monday took over the streets of Lagos and Abuja to voice their discontentment in the new certificate regulation guidelines set up by their regulatory body, NMCN. The professionals, while showing their disapproval, mentioned that the new demands by the regulatory body are forms of oppression to nurses. They called on the federal government to reopen the verification portals without restrictions. They stated that the standards for nurses and midwives certificate verification have been revised in a memo released by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria on February 7, 2024. Saying that the qualified candidates need to have worked as permanent practitioners for at least 2 years after receiving their license to get their verification certificate.
What we are asking is this: remove the verification circular that you have just released, remove it. Employ nurses. Nurses are all over everywhere unemployed. Yes. There is no nurse shortage in Nigeria. Yes. There is no nurse shortage in Nigeria. Yes. There is no nurse shortage in Nigeria. Yes. And I challenge all Nigerians, let them advertise for nurses employment today.
I hereby plead on behalf of myself and the whole nurses. We want them to withdraw the verification guideline within 48 hours.
We are calling on the NMCA registrar, Nurse Umar Farouk Abubakar, yes, to reverse the new verification guideline. Yes. Instead, Nurse Farouk should work towards proper placement. Yes. For nurses in the federal health system and states in general. Yes.
The process should be digitalized with immediate effect. Yes. It should be digitalized with immediate effect. Yes. And we are telling you today, if you dare us, we will shut down the healthcare system.
The nurses concluded that if after some weeks there is no positive response from their regulatory body, they would be forced to take their next action, which would include a nationwide strike.
A bill seeking to set university degree or its equivalent as threshold for candidates seeking elections into the offices of the president, vice president, governor, and others seeking political office holders was stepped down by the House of Representatives at the plenary on Tuesday. The bill, sponsored by Representative Adeomi Onanuga, was titled A Bill for an Act to Alter the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended to change the educational qualification for elections into certain political offices and related matters. Presenting the bill, Representative Onanuga said it seeks to add value to the political leadership in the country by having people with a minimum qualification to hold political office in the country. It was, however, stepped down for second reading after a lengthy debate by members who spoke for and against it. A federal high court in Kano has barred the state government from further demolition of residential buildings at Salanta Quarters, which was earlier marked for demolition. Justice Simon Amobeda, while delivering judgment in a fundamental rights enforcement suit, held that the landed property in question was legitimately acquired and therefore cannot be demolished without the consent of the owners. The plaintiffs had approached the court in July 2023 seeking protection of their rights to the property they owned, but were marked for demolition by Kano State government. The court then granted a temporary order restraining the state government from further action pending final determination of the case. Counsel for the plaintiffs, Kabiru Isha Kofa, said the virtue of the court judgment, Kano State Government or Kano State Urban Planning Development Authority, their agents or previous are perpetually forbidden from invading for demolishing or even forcefully acquiring or removing any of their property or taking over the property or rights therein against their wish. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf had ordered the demolition few days after assuming office, accusing the previous administration of land allocation to cronies and illegal sales of some lands belonging to public schools, graveyards, and mosques without recourse to due process. This is a news update. coming up shortly. We'll take a look at how social media content is impacting negatively on radio broadcast. More news when we return this day.
Helter Skelter. Under cover of darkness or even in broad daylight, bandits and kidnappers have been wreaking havoc in the lives of some Kaduna residents.
We don't sleep. Sometimes we run and hide in a uncompleted or they used to pursue us.
Unlike some regions, the lack of a designated IDP camp in Kaduna State leaves affected communities without government support.
I don't have any information reaching me that there are particular uncompleted structures were occupied by people that are migrated from areas that are bedeviled by the security issues.
What are the efforts of the government amidst this troubled state?
For obvious security reasons, we cannot be able to give you details blow by blow.
This is a story about the people chased away from their homes by bandits and kidnappers in Kaduna State and what the government is doing to address the humanitarian crisis.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. But if you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Nigerian Senate meets service chiefs over national security challenges. Shortage of food, essential services hit IDP camps in Plateau State. And now moving on to more stories. Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State has highlighted the importance of a strong partnership between the government and the media in fostering transparency and public awareness. The governor, who stated this at a recent meeting with representatives of the media, expressed his commitment to work closely with the fourth estate of the realm, particularly those dedicated to covering his government's initiatives. Governor Namadi emphasized the crucial role the media plays in keeping the public informed, especially during challenging times, and urged media outlets to actively engage in educating Nigerians on the current hardship as well as government's efforts geared towards addressing the nation's economic challenges. Governor Namadi commended the media for the role as the watchdogs of democracy and pledged to provide necessary support to those genuinely committed to objective reporting. He stressed the importance of constructive criticism and constructive dialogue in enhancing governance and addressing the concerns of the people.
I think we're in a trying period in this country now, a serious trying period that needs people to be informed and sensitized. So it is important you use your medium to educate people on the current economic situations the country is undergoing. This is quite abnormal, but it's also a trying period. It's something that will soon be over, inshallah. So we should appreciate that God has given us life and He has given us good health. So inshallah, this trying period will soon be over, but people need to be sensitized to understand. The government is doing all it can to ensure that they have eased the situations. The president is very much concerned with the situations, and all the state governors were all working hard to see how we can reduce the pains on our people. So I think it is important you also take this message and separate it across to the populace, because it's very, very important. It's a trying period, and it will soon be over, inshallah.
Residents of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, have voiced concerns over what they call interference by social media on effective radio broadcasting. They stated this while speaking to Trust TV on the sidelines of the 2024 World Radio Day held on the 12th of February 2024. Trust TV's Jimmy Azande reports.
And so for you listener, we're saying it's World Radio Day. Well, we're so thankful for you because you invite us into your space every single time. What did we ever do to deserve it?
This is Lizzie Amanyi, a radio presenter with Brothers FM Makurdi, enlightening the public during a live presentation. Broadcast journalist Theophilus Samble says the medium is still very much useful to the listening public that appreciates its value.
Radio is still the most valid, the most potent, the easiest tool of communication across the world. Why? Because it is cheap, you know. Without you don't need data to access radio, even though we have loads of online radio platforms now. But with your transistor radio, with your phone without data, with your torchlight phone, so to speak, you know, you can have access to different radio channels and, you know, get information at your fingertips.
Some of the residents say, in spite of the rise in social media, they depend on the radio for credible information.
Call on those in rural areas to see radio as one of the medium which they can get informed of the activities of the government. They should forget about the issue of Twitter or Facebook. It's not everybody that can afford 1,000 naira to get data. So I urge them to get their 2,000 naira to get a transistor radio, to glue to it. Even though on the farm, anywhere, they can get informed about government activities and policies and make informed decisions.
I used to listen to all radio stations, starting from Voice of Winter, BBC, Germany, French, and our Radio Nigeria, and Radio Benue FM Stereo, and Brother SM, all of them, over both Joy FM. I used to listen to all the news.
Radio broadcasting, according to them, is still viable, despite its obvious challenges.
Yes, we are aware of the emergence of the social media in particular. People say it's competing seriously with the radio. Radio can never be competed because quite a number of people still use it. So radio remains very critical as far as communication is concerned. Yes, there is no doubt we have challenges. There are challenges in managing the radio, particularly now that the power, there's no power. Nigeria is facing a lot of challenges in this power sector. Most radio stations are driven by diesel now. Diesel is 1,350 naira per liter, and you can only imagine.
Radio is the easiest and cheapest means of information gathering available to the general public in cities and communities. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
We'll take it away from Nigeria now. Negotiations for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza have resumed in Cairo, Egyptian, according to media reports. Senior officials from the U.S., Israel, Egypt, and Qatar are meeting as Israel faces strong international pressure to stop its bombardment of the southern Gaza city of Rafah. About 1.5 million people are crammed into the small border town amid fears of an Israeli ground offensive. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who rejected as delusional ceasefire proposals by Hamas last week, said total victory was possible in Gaza within months. He later ordered Israeli troops to prepare to expand their ground operation and vowed to defeat Hamas gunmen hiding in Rafah. United States President Joe Biden has called for civilians in the area to be protected. The discussions in Cairo are continuing despite Israel's rejection of Hamas's terms. And in sports, President confers national honors on entire Super Eagles contingent, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has conferred the national honor of Member of the Order of the Niger on every member of the Super Eagles that participated at the just concluded African Cup of Nations. President Bola Tinubu hosted the team on Tuesday at the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. The meeting followed closely on the heels of their recent march against the host nation, Côte d'Ivoire, in the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations finals, where they fell short in their bid to win the trophy. In addition to the national honors, the federal government, through the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, granted each team member a plot of land and a flat in a yet-to-be-disclosed location. On the sidelines of the ceremony, issues discussed revolved around preparations for the World Cup qualifiers, the future of the coach, and cyberbullying of Super Eagles midfielder Alex Iwobi by some faceless Nigerians. And that concludes the news update at this hour. But remember, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for watching.